Hello, and welcome to my channel. I'm Mandi, author 10 young adult novels so far, 8 of which I'm rewriting this year. Welcome to part 2 of the Rewrites Vlog 3 of that adventure, because Rewrites Vlog 3 was over an hour long and it was too long and I just couldn't cut it down, so we made 2. I am on chapter 8, starting chapter 8 today. When I finish it, hopefully today, I'll basically be halfway through the story. Currently sitting at around 30,000 words in the new draft, which is around 15,000 words of the original story. The whole entire book, front and back matter, was like 42,000, I think. I've probably already said this on one of these vlogs, but yeah, I'm creeping up on the size right now. Like, I'm at 30K. I'm so close to, like, the original size of the book, and I'm not quite halfway through. I realize I keep stressing the fact that I'm, like, making a book twice as big, but it just keeps striking me as crazy. Every time I think of it, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is crazy, and then I tell the camera. Also, I'm heating some water over there, so noises. I'm sorry. Anyway, I have a prickle soon, so we're gonna write chapter 8, presumably. Also, I might go backwards because after doing the Enneagram thing and figuring out that Marion would be very disturbed by the betrayal, I was thinking about it. And she would also be bothered in other ways. It lends itself really well to the original story, so I just need to, like, sharpen it because it's already there. But as an 8, Marion is, and should be, very guarded and not easily, like, open up and vulnerable and that sort of stuff. And it's in the original story, but, like, not highlighted, I guess. But Marion and Robin have this, like, childhood, grew up together love story, but she doesn't acknowledge it or admit it or tell him that she loves him. And then when she's 16 and he's 18, he runs off to go on the crusades, you know? Yeah, and basically, you know, abandons her for 3 years in England. And when he comes back, in the original story, she doesn't immediately be like, oh, Robin, you're home. Like, it takes a while before she even says, I love you. But I don't necessarily, like, highlight why she's reluctant and hesitant and doesn't necessarily trust him, because, like, he abandoned her for 3 years. So, in the new version, I think I want to go back to the stuff that I already rewrote with this knowledge that she is an 8 in every way. And, like, it's in the original story, but, like, I really want to, like, make it more obvious. So I'm going to definitely go back through the 7 chapters I've already written and stress how protective she is of her own heart, and how when Robin leaves, like, what does that do for her for those 3 years? Like, how does she feel about that? And then when he comes back, like, why doesn't she admit that she loves him? And then in the scene that she actually does finally say I love you, I'm going to make it bigger, because in the original version, the first time she says I love you was sort of just like casual in passing, and then Robin was like, huh, you said I love you, and Marion was like, no, shut up. And it was just sort of like passed off as a joke. But I feel like I want to go back to that specific scene and make it more emotional and meaningful, because it's a big deal for her. So all of that is to say, I may or may not be working on chapter 8 today, because I might be going back through all the other stuff and, like, fixing the Marion is an 8 and protective of her heart situation. Chapter 7 was the chapter with the betrayal, so I already went back yesterday and fixed her response to the betrayal. So that's good. I do think moving forward, her response to the betrayal will also affect her relationship with Robin and with everyone else, because, you know, a good friend betraying you will definitely make you less likely to trust the other people around you. But I think in the end, it would have made Marion more grateful for Robin, because he does stick by her side. Spoilers for those who don't want them. Skip to whatever time I say. But she definitely dies in the middle of this whole story arc. So she's not going to get to the point where she's grateful for Robin because he's sticking by her side, and she's like, oh, I can see the difference, I trust you, you're great. She's not going to get there. She's going to die smack dab in the middle of this whole process, which is kind of depressing. So, there's that. Let's do this prickle, shall we? Actually, my water stopped. I can make the tea. Edgy! This tea, you probably can't see me at this point, I'm standing. But anyway, this tea is from my like 30-minute tea tasting unboxing video, which I am definitely putting in the cards. Go watch it, it's fun. I promise. No honey sticks though, you guys. I'm not putting a honey stick in it. I refuse. Let's do this! Guys, I just pulled up the document and I'm mistaken. I'm at 37,000 words. 37. Wow. The last 2 days that I've been writing, I've done over 5,000 words. Not all of that being new content, mind you, but obviously a lot of it being new content. But anyway, I've done over 5,000 words the last 2 days in a row. So, if I do that again today, we will end today like at the size of the current Lucy's Legend. And everything after that will just be extra words. I don't know why this is like making my brain explode, but this is making my brain explode. It's also really putting into perspective like everything that's happened in the last like 2 years of writing. Because when I wrote, well, I guess it started with Return to Grace, so like sometime in 2019, 2020, it just took a long time to write the book, and when I finished, it was like the biggest book I had ever written to date, and I was like, what is this massive thing? I don't write big books. And then I started working on the fantasy series, inspired by King Arthur, and every single one of those books has taken longer than I used to write, because I used to write like in a month, tops, and be like, boom, done. And now it takes much longer than that. So they were all taking longer, and I was getting impatient, and they were all bigger than any of my previous books. And I was like, what is this nonsense? This is not how I write. So I think, going through these rewrites, what I'm coming to understand is that it is in fact how I write now. Am I still a chronic underwriter? Yes, because I don't describe things, and the first draft is always the bare bones, and like, yes, I'm still an underwriter. But I also have more words than I used to have. And I can see how as well. I'm like leaning over because I don't know if you can see me past the computer. But anyway, yeah, I can see how I have more words while rewriting the original Lucy's Legend, because it's literally just dialogue back and forth with no setting, and then recap, narrative summary of like, okay, so this happened, and then dialogue back and forth with no setting, and then recap, and okay, this is what happened. Like, that is the entire book. There's no like actual immersive scenes in any of it whatsoever. Like, not even one. I have not come across one. So I can see why I have more words now, because I'm actually writing scenes now. So yeah, I feel like that's the biggest difference, because that's mainly what I've been adding in terms of those like 37,000 words versus 15 in the other one. Like, yeah, most of that is just making the scenes immersive versus just like dialogue back and forth and then a recap sentence. Like, who wants to read that? I don't want to read that. Anyway, yeah. Basically what I'm saying is that I understand now that I have more words than I used to. I guess, I mean, I still felt like an underwriter, so it didn't really process that it was that different, even though I knew my writing was so drastically different that I was ashamed of the original Lucy's Legend. Like, I knew, but I didn't know, and I'm ranty now. We're just moving on. I have a prickle. Starting in 1 minute now that I've ranted. Quill and Cup, otherwise known as the best writing group ever. But it's so, guys, I'm so passionate about this now, it like literally just happened to me, but like, it's amazing. Because if you know the character's type, you literally have everything you need to craft a plot, because you know their strengths and their weaknesses and their core longings and what they're going to achieve and like what will get in their way to get there, and I'm just like, this is brilliant! But anyway. Yeah, it just exploded my whole brain. Okay, I did in fact not work on chapter 8. I went back to the very beginning, the prologue, page 1, and started working through it and adding Marion's emotional response to various things that are happening, so that it becomes more obvious that she is protective of herself and also of her father and brother. After Robin leaves, particularly, I added a brief little scene when Robin's father is murdered. I added a brief little scene where Marion basically decides that she's going to protect herself and her family, which is only her father and Mark. Screw Robin and everyone else. She does later decide to start like acting out and protecting like the poor people and the suffering people of Nottingham, but they're not family. They're just people who are suffering, and she doesn't like injustice, so she steps up to like deal with that. But yeah. But I've only made it 14 pages in, so I'm still in chapter 1, and I'm going through this. But as I've been going, I've also been adding a few sentences here and there to like flesh out Lucy's story, because in the original, she was a saint with no problems whatsoever. Nothing. She struggled with nothing. Until the very end of the book, where she makes this confession that she struggled with something, but like it's not very impactful, because you're like, did you? I didn't notice. Anyway, yeah, she struggled with nothing. She was a saint. So I've been adding a few things as I've gone along just now, doing this like editing situation, because I want her to actually struggle with something this time, and it's been difficult trying to come up with things. But after doing the Enneagram, I did some reading on what ones typically struggle with, and resentment is one of those things. Like, they hold on to injustice because their desire is to be good and not corrupt, and they expect that of the people around them as well. So, by the way, I'm a 9-wing 1. Anyway, that's unrelated. Because of that, I think it actually plays really well for Lucy to be resentful. Her parents are unjustly murdered, which is her inciting incident, actually. And then she goes on a quest to protect the people of Nottingham, but while she's doing it, like, from her, it's out of a place of anger. Like, for Marion, it's, this is an injustice, I can fix it. And so she steps up and does that. And for Lucy, she's like, this horrible thing happened to me, and I am really frustrated by it, like, super angry. I'm furious. So I'm gonna do something about it, basically. They're coming at it very similarly, which works, you know, because they're both on this journey together. They're both main characters, so, you know, like, having similar-ish story arcs is helpful and good, you know. I do want it to be different enough that it's not like, why do we have 2 of them? But I also think it'd be nice, because they're on similar-ish journeys, I think it will be nice to see the reflection, because, spoiler alert, skip to, you know, time frame if you don't want to hear it. You still here? Okay. Marion dies, and I think it will be interesting to see the 2 story arcs proceeding in this manner, because they both step up to protect people. Slightly different motivations, but they both step up to protect people, but also they're both protecting themselves. So for Lucy, because her... Sorry, my hand is really shaking. I think I need lunch. Anyway, for Lucy, her parents were murdered, and then she just couldn't face that whatsoever. So she, you know, ran off and left everyone that she knows and loves, because she doesn't want to have that sort of connection right now. She doesn't want to have people. And she's just out in the world trying to make sure no one is corrupt and evil. Like, that's it. She's not focusing on her emotions. She's just like, we're gonna make sure the world is good. That is it. So yeah, her story arc involves connecting with the gang and learning to open up again, which is nice. And for Marion, because she is protecting her heart because of, like, Robin's abandonment, and then, like, people are dying and, like, betraying and, like, whatever. She doesn't trust people. So for her, it's just that she, on a very, like, basic level, just doesn't trust people. And then things in her life just pile on top of that, not trusting people. So for her, opening up to Robin is going to be massive. It's gonna be crazy, but she won't have a chance to, like, open up to other people in this book, which is kind of sad, to be honest. Like, she's... Anyway, it'll be good. I think it'll be good. I'm ranting a lot. I'm basically halfway through at this point, so, you know, that's valid. Also, it's the 19th, so we'll see if I stay on track. But also, I didn't start on the 1st. That should be known, okay? I started slightly late because I was still finishing book 3 in the fantasy series. So I actually feel good about being on the 19th. I started on the 5th, I believe. So this is actually only my, let's see, minus 4, 14th? I've only been doing this for 2 weeks, and I'm halfway through. That's actually really good. I'm impressed with myself. I should stop talking to the camera. I have to go. I have to eat lunch. I have to get children from preschool. I will be back. There is another prickle today that I usually get on. There's one that's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm probably going to get on that one and keep working through, because I'm only in chapter 1 with this like fixing Marion's emotional response to things. And apparently Lucy's too, because I started doing that. But anyway, I'm only in chapter 1, and I want to get through all 7 chapters today, so that maybe I can write more in chapter 8, or I'll start chapter 8 tomorrow, excuse me. But either way, I want to get through this. Which also I feel means I need to resend all of the chapters to my critique partner, because the ones that I've sent her are very different already. Man, revisions. This is not something that I've really done in any way. I mean, I have edited my books before. Return to Grace has 2 very different versions of the story, especially the end. Like, figuring out Ida's, she's one of the main characters, basically the main character of Return to Grace and Return to Sherwood. But anyway, that's not the point. Figuring out her, it kind of is the point. I can't finish the sentence. Figuring out her, the end of her story was difficult, and I re-outlined it like 12 times. There are vlogs of all of these things. You can go watch that writing experience if you feel like it. But anyway, yeah, so I've definitely done some revisions and editing, but not like this. Not taking a complete story and like rewriting it. I mean, with Dusty's book, I started it 3 different times, but I never finished a first draft until the 3rd one. Like, I would write a chapter or 2 and be like, this is not the way to tell the story. And then write a chapter or 2 and then be like, this is not the way to tell the story. And then I wrote the actual draft. Which doesn't really count as revisions, I feel like. Like, I've never actually sat down with a complete story and then changed it. Because like with Ida's, I was in the middle of the first draft, and then I think, I don't know, I might have actually been editing the second draft, but I was only fixing the ending. This feels very different. All I'm saying is this feels like something I've never actually done before, especially because with this Robin Hood series, like, I did no editing whatsoever. My grandma read them and like critiqued grammar. My brother read at least the first one because he's very proud of the fact that he pointed out a timeline issue, and he's never going to forget it. And anytime I talk about timelines ever, he's like, oh yeah, I'm the one who inspired the original. That's me. I'm calling you out, dude. Anyway, the point is, he did notice a timeline issue, which is actually what made me make the giant calendar that spans 100 years. Because I have everything written out exactly when it happens. You can't get mistaken here. It's there. Anyway, yes. What was that about? Oh, revisions. Fixing the original Robin Hood. There was no editing, okay? A couple of my family members read it and fixed, like, minor things. But, like, the story as a whole, like, nobody sat down with me and was like, you realize you don't have any actual scenes in this book at all? Like, any. I can't even, It's literally just, like, back and forth dialogue. No dialogue tags even in a lot of it. Like, it's just quotation marks, quotation marks, quotation marks, and then narrative summary to recap events. And I'm just like, what is this? There's a story under there. There really is. And I'm loving pulling it out. Because it's a great story, and I love this story, and that's why I spent 8 years writing this story. There is a story there, but, like, it's not present in the original, and no one told me. What is wrong with you people? Okay, what is wrong with you? Also, to be fair, when I was 17, and even a few years after that, I did not have a thick skin, or any sort of humility in my writing. Goodness, none whatsoever. So I was very defensive when people would try to critique. So I could understand why some people would not. Like my sister, who is the one who reads all of my first drafts, for a while, she was like, why do you make me do this? You hate it when I do this, and I point out all the wrong things. But anyway, I've gotten over that quite a bit, because I know there are so many things that I still need to learn, so many issues I have, and also sometimes just like you have the right idea, but maybe you don't present it right. Camera died because I talk too much. The point is, I can handle critiques now. I mean, sometimes it's still a little bit sad, but like I can handle it, and I can use it to the betterment of my stories. That was the point. Also, doing revisions is crazy because I've never done it before, specifically on the original Robin Hood series. Except for the story of Gisman. I mean, I kind of fixed that one, but that was like 5 years later, and it feels really distant and random. But anyway, I have to go. I am back, and children are all napping for the time being. So, hopping on another prickle. Ow, I just scratched my chin. Hopping on a prickle with my writing group, hoping to continue with what I was doing this morning, which is just going over the 7 chapters that I have done. I'm on page 14, still chapter 1, page 14 right now, and just, yeah, focusing on the internal effects of the events, mostly based off of the Enneagram types that I now know for Lucy and Marion. It's so much, I'm finding it anyway, so much fun to just dig into it. There's so much of it, but like, I've always been obsessed with psychology anyway. When I was in college, I took legitimately every single course that was offered at my college that had anything to do with psychology, so I love it. It makes me so happy. Yes, absolutely. There's only been one scene that I was like, wow, that's completely different than my character, and I just changed it. I fixed it. But everything else has been like completely in line and like already present in some aspect in the story, just not focused on or highlighted in any way. So yeah, it's definitely already there. I'm loving being able to like pull it out further. It's great. I love all of it. The Enneagram is my new favorite thing. I made it to chapter 4, and now I'm going to take a brief break, but hopefully I get the last 4 chapters done for the end of the day, and then tomorrow I'll probably be starting on chapter 8 with fresh words in the moving forward progress thing. Clearly words are no longer in my brain. But anyway, things have been going really well. I altered a couple more scenes to make Marion appear more reluctant to open up to Robin. Because although she didn't express her love to Robin in the original version until like halfway through her story, she definitely said things like she was glad he was back, and like she didn't show that she was reluctant, I guess, except for the fact that she didn't say I love you. So I'm taking the knowledge of the fact that she didn't say I love you and the knowledge of her being an Enneagram 8, and I'm adding a lot of subtext and nuance to her not saying I love you, basically. That's what's happening here. And I'm actually really enjoying it quite a lot. So yay. I'm going to say that this is the end of this vlog, because I talked a lot today, and I imagine it's getting very long, even if I cut down portions of it. So, thanks for watching. If you are interested in seeing the rest of my rewriting journey, which you should be, obviously, because it's so much fun, be sure to subscribe to my channel, ring the notification bell, you won't miss any uploads. It clearly has taken me 3 vlogs to get halfway through this rewriting situation, so who knows how many more vlogs there will be of the rewriting of Lucy's Legend, and then all of the other 7 books I plan on doing this year. There's going to be a lot of rewriting vlogs. It's a long journey, it's going to get chaotic, and eventually I'll fall behind and I'll just start complaining to the camera. It'll be great, it'll be so much fun. In more exciting news, I was talking to my cover designer yesterday, and I'm getting insanely excited about that. Also, I have purchased ISBNs for all 8 books, and like, things are moving forward, people. But anyway, yep, this is the end of the vlog. So see you later. Be sure to Be sure to do what now?